Welcome to my channel. If you like the content, please subscribe for more.
Do I expose my cheating spouse's affair to her boyfriend's family? My spouse and I, both 54 years old, have been in a relationship for over 30 years. However, last summer she went on a 6-week trip to our hometown for a class reunion, and things changed when she returned. She began talking about moving back home and possibly not being married anymore. A few weeks later, she went on another trip, turned off her phone's tracking, and barely contacted me until she returned. Her behavior was suspicious, so I looked at her phone and discovered several pictures of her holding and kissing someone from the reunion. I confronted her, and she didn't hesitate to admit everything without remorse or any interest in reconciliation. Her infidelity hurt me a lot, but it was clear that I needed to plan a life without her. I'm currently seeking counseling and working on myself. However, the person she cheated on me with is married and has 3 high school children, and 6 months later, his family is still unaware of the affair. Although I don't know the other spouse, I feel terrible about the situation. Initially, I didn't plan on exposing their relationship since it wouldn't help me and could ruin their lives. But as time passes, I feel more empathy towards the other family and don't know what the right thing to do is. I'm seeking advice from someone who has been in my position as the betrayed. Exposing the affair feels like the right thing to do, but I still care about my wife's happiness, making this a difficult decision. Redditors' reactions. Next story after. Redditor 1. You know what morally the right thing to do is. Everyone here will tell you that you 100 should tell the op. It's disappointing hearing that 6 months later they still don't know. Please tell them and do the right thing ASAP. Also, file for divorce if you haven't. Op. Answer. I pretty much assumed this would be the advice. I am headed towards filing, but there were a number of legal steps along the way. There are also complications around my feelings towards my wife, but in the end I know what I should do. It was so instantly obvious to me that something was up. I just can't understand how the other wife can't figure out why her husband goes out every night for hours. But on here I read about affairs going for years, so I guess it isn't always so obvious. Redditor 2. As a former bees whose friends knew and never said anything, you need to let the obs know. She should have the right to make an informed decision about the situation. If she chooses after that to try to save her marriage, then she at least gets to make that decision. It's horrible not being able to decide on your own future and well-being because you don't have the whole story. Please tell her. Op. Answer. I'm sorry that happened to you. Thank you for your insight. No one ever wins in an affair, but it's even worse when some of the people don't even know they are playing. Redditor 3. Suu. You know the truth, but App's wife does not. Wujide, think about it. If you would want to know, then she should be informed. Story 2. 2 years ago, my wife Adeline and I tied the knot. Adeline was my co-worker at the time, and although we were both in our 30s, she wanted to become a housewife and start a family once we got married. I was pleased with the way we divided our roles, and she seemed to enjoy taking care of our home. Although I also desired to have children, we hadn't made any progress in that regard over the past 2 years. I didn't dwell on it too much, however, because I was content with enjoying our lives together without children for the time being. One evening, I was invited to an end-of-year party with some colleagues. I called Adeline to apologize for the last-minute notice and offered to make her dinner before I left. She graciously declined and encouraged me to enjoy myself. When the party was over, I began walking home from the train station and saw Adeline holding hands with a man I didn't recognize. They were laughing and seemed to be having a great time, which confused and upset me. I stood at a bus stop for a while to collect my thoughts and realized that Adeline had been acting strangely lately. She had been asking for specific details about my schedule and spending more time on her phone. Whenever I asked her about it, she would say she was playing games and hide her phone. Eventually, I came to the realization that Adeline must be having an affair. I should have taken action when I saw her with the other man, but I was hesitant and unsure. One day, when Adeline left her phone in the living room to take a bath, I took the opportunity to look through it. What I found shattered my remaining hopes. Lovey-dovey exchanges between Adeline and her lover. selfies of them together in hotel rooms, and plans for a 1-year anniversary trip. They had been together for over a year, which made me feel sick. The happy life I thought we shared was a complete lie. I took pictures of the evidence and put her phone back where I found it, unable to sleep that night due to the overwhelming thoughts in my head. A couple of days later, my wife brought up the idea of going on a trip with her friend Alice from university, whom she hadn't seen in ages. Little did she know that the day she suggested, which was a Wednesday, was the same day as her spa trip with her lover. It hit me hard that she had betrayed me. I kept my composure and replied, "Sounds good, have fun." Despite feeling angry and foolish for being deceived, I made the decision to hire a private investigator to uncover the truth. On the day of Adeline's trip with her lover, she left early in the morning, and I took the day off to relax and play games. After a few hours, I received a text from her saying that she had arrived safely and was excited to see her friend Alice. She joked, "Don't cheat on me while I'm away," which made me feel disgusted. Despite her being on a trip with her lover, she was telling me not to cheat on her. I held back my feelings and responded, "Don't worry about things at home and have fun. I'll be expecting souvenirs, of course. And no, I won't cheat on you, don't worry." The conversation ended there, but the next day she messaged me again. The following morning, Adeline messaged me, asking if I was eating properly. She mentioned that she couldn't use her credit card and wondered what the problem could be. She then asked me to transfer her some money. I knew that I had blocked her card, so I responded, suggesting that she borrow some cash from the person she was with. Adeline was angry and asked why she couldn't do that, saying that she didn't know when she would meet Alice again. She also assumed that I had maxed out the card without her permission, which made me feel frustrated. I replied calmly, saying that I hadn't done that, but Adeline continued to scold me and asked if I had gone crazy. I couldn't help but chuckle when Adeline accused me of being crazy. She was the one who was acting insane, and she didn't even seem to realize it. When I asked her who she was with, she became flustered and started lying. She claimed to be with Alice, a friend from university, but I knew that wasn't true. Alice and I had lunch together before we got married, and we even exchanged phone numbers. When I called Alice to wish her a fun trip with Adeline, she had no idea what I was talking about. Adeline's excuses didn't make any sense, and it was hard for me not to laugh at her. But I managed to keep my composure and told her to figure out her own problems. I packed my bags and left the house, meeting up with a private detective I had hired to gather evidence. When Adeline called me again, she was moaning loudly about my stuff being gone and divorce papers being on the table. I told her calmly that I had rented a new place and that she needed to sign the papers and send them to my parents' house. I wouldn't meet her anymore. Adeline seemed to be in shock and didn't understand what I was saying. She threatened to sue me for not asking her before renting a new place and filing for divorce. But I knew the truth about her affair and the people in the pictures I had left for her to find. It was time to move on and start a new chapter in my life without Adeline. That was just an ex-business partner. He helped me out a lot when I was still working, so I couldn't say no when he invited me to dinner. "How do you have these photos? Are you a stalker?" These were all lies, and I felt a bit guilty. "You really are a liar. I wonder if everything you've said to me since we first met has been a lie." Despite Adeline's denials, I explained everything to her. It just so happened that we ran into each other while we were both out walking recently. I apologized, but I had to confess that I had looked through her phone. "You've been dating for a year now." I hired a private investigator and gathered evidence. "I know everything. I've already spoken to your parents about this, and they apologized to me for what you've done. You really are a horrible person. Be sure to apologize to them." As I spoke, Adeline kept saying wait and no way, so it seemed like she didn't know I had spoken to her parents. In a fit of rage, she began yelling even louder than before. "Why did you speak to my parents about this and not me? I didn't think you were such scum. Fine, I don't need you anymore. So let's divorce and I'll be happy with him from now on." After hearing her say this, I couldn't help but smile. "Really? I hope you're happy together." A few weeks went by, and I was living a peaceful life on my own when Adeline called me again. She seemed upset that I had contacted her lover's family. Because you said something so useless. His wife now knows too. His wife took their kids and went to her parents' house. Isn't that great? This way you and him can be happy together. If he divorces his wife, can't you two remarry each other? Adeline suddenly spoke in a soft voice. I wanted to do that, but he can't get a divorce. He told me he won't meet me anymore. Why did this happen? She spoke as if I was there to comfort her, saying things like, he chose his wife and kids over you, isn't that natural? After all, his wife's family is rich. Adeline then switched to a baby-like voice and suggested we try getting back together, but I had no intention of returning to the past. I had already told her to talk to my lawyer, so I cut off her call when she asked if I could sign the divorce papers. Despite numerous attempts from Adeline to contact me, I never picked up. Even when she came to my office, I was on assignment at another branch and didn't have to see her. Eventually, rumors spread around the company and some of her former colleagues approached her about it, but Adeline never returned. After a while, I received the signed divorce papers at my parents' house. Adeline had finally given up and agreed to pay alimony, which she now pays off in monthly installments after using up her savings on her affair. Her lover ended up staying with his wife, but I claimed enough alimony to buy myself a new car. I've heard rumors that things aren't going well for Adeline's lover and his family, but everything was finally resolved and I feel at peace now. I'm glad I found out about Adeline's true self within the 2 years we were married, and one day I hope to meet someone new and start a family. But for now, I'll enjoy my life on my own and won't rush into anything. Thanks for listening, and please support us by subscribing to our channel for the next video.